Hey everyone. In this video, I want to discuss why men and women seem to hate each other now. I'm sure quite a lot of you are familiar with all this weird, angry, like almost bitter energy that people have towards the opposite sex if you've read any comments online whatsoever. For those of you who aren't online all that often, you probably may not be familiar with this. You may not even know that this is a thing, although you could see some evidence of this even in news media and whatnot, because it's just becoming a bit widespread at this point. It's rather weird seeing people bashing on the opposite sex and almost normalizing this as if it's an okay thing. And well, I want to discuss some of the reasons why this may be the case. So, one of the biggest things here that any of you who've studied psychology will probably be familiar with is that you basically have a lot of people who are incredibly bitter, angry, and maybe even, well, very likely are broken themselves. And they've likely been burned in relationships while dating. They have encountered people of the opposite sex that they've originally gotten along with well enough, or maybe they're insecure and they trauma bonded to someone else, or God knows what other reasons. There are a lot of people who get into relationships out of fear of being alone, so of course they're not exactly going to choose the best partners when they're doing that. So since we're not taught how to create healthy relationships, a lot of people have had really bad experiences while dating. So this creates a foundation for a lot of people ending up in situations where they could easily be manipulated into hating the opposite sex because they've had these bad experiences. And again, along with nobody being taught how to create healthy relationships, many people aren't even taught how to cope with their emotions in healthy ways. Many people aren't taught how to take personal accountability and responsibility for their lives and their actions. So when things aren't going so well in their relationships and whatnot, even if they're the common denominator and they've had a lot of bad relationships, they're going to think that it's because the outside world sucks or that they're a victim or something like that, and not that they themselves may be the problem. And I'm not trying to victim blame here. What I more so mean is that we forget how much responsibility and how much autonomy we have in controlling our dating and relationship lives. We choose who we decide to date. So at the end of the day, no matter how bad your options are, if you choose any of them, that's on you, right? So again, I'm not victim blaming. I'm just saying people need to be better at who they choose to date, at especially who they choose to get into relationships with. It's far better to stay single than to settle for just the first random person to come along who shows an interest in you. Because the odds are they probably don't work on themselves. Very few people do. In fact, all the people who end up hating the opposite sex, I can guarantee you, they are not working on themselves. Because if they were, they wouldn't subscribe to such a stupid belief. How could everyone of the opposite sex be bad? That makes no sense whatsoever. We know objectively that that's not true as soon as we think about it. There are always good and bad people in any group that you choose. You can't say that all of them are good or all of them are bad, because neither of those are truthful. The truth is that there will be some good, some bad, and a lot of neutral, average people in the bunch. That's the way a lot of these concepts are whenever you take groups of people and try to pull information from them. So it's just unfortunate how you have a lot of broken people who've been burned while dating, so they take the stance of hating the opposite sex for their bad experiences rather than choosing for the one thing they have control over, which is themselves, choosing to better themselves, to work on themselves so they can finally fix all those issues in their romantic life. I mean, I can tell you right now, I've spent a lot of time working on myself. And as I've done that, it has led to me dating less over time. And that's because, well, one, I need to get out more often. So there's definitely that. But the other problem is that I meet very few women that actually interest me in that way. because I'm only attracted to women who actually work on themselves, and unfortunately they are rare. So you'll find for both sexes, people who work on themselves are rare. Men who work on themselves are rare. Women who work on themselves are rare. There isn't like some weird disparity where one sex gets the short end of the stick more than the other. No, they're both equally rare. So women are screwed if they're trying to find a guy who works on themselves, and men are screwed if they're trying to find a woman who works on herself. So it's just the way it is, right? We're both equally messed up, or not messed up, we're both equally getting the short end of the stick when it comes to dating if you happen to work on yourself, because it's just something that very few people do. So the choice you have to make is whether or not you want to accept the options that you have. And of course, there are things you can do to try to better your options, like moving somewhere where maybe people are going to be a bit more inclined to work on themselves. Like, I'm actually kind of hitting a point where I'm not confident that cities, at least big cities, attract great people or even create great people, because I've just run into so many people in my life living in Los Angeles who just aren't that appealing. And that goes even beyond like trying to find women to date, but even just like friends and whatnot, like people in general. There's just so many not so great human beings in big cities. So I'm not convinced that it's a great environment to find people who work on themselves. There's just something that happens in cities that like makes people weird, for lack of a better way of putting it. So I do kind of believe that small towns are going to have higher, how do I even phrase it, like better people in general, just people who care more about each other, people who have more empathy, that sort of thing. And that immediately is going to make them better options for dating and relationships on average. I'm sure many of you who were raised in small towns or like countryside situations, you could probably tell me you knew a lot of crappy people, and I would not deny that at all. There are crappy people everywhere. But I just believe there are more of them in cities than in small towns. Just from what I know about psychology and the fact that small towns, it's a bit harder for you to be a bad person because other people will remember you more easily because there are less people in general. So there's more of an incentive to be good. Because if you're bad, everyone's going to know you're bad in that small town. In cities, you can get away with being bad way easier, because nobody's going to remember you. There's way too many people you encounter in a day. So yeah, that's my theory, and I'm going to stick to it, but feel free to share your examples here because I would be curious to hear about that. But yeah, so the problem, going back to the original topic, is just you have a lot of broken people who are not taking that responsibility for making their dating lives better. So instead of working on themselves, they just hate on the world around them. They hate on the opposite sex. They think that all men are the issue if it's a woman who constantly chooses bad men to date. Or you have men who think all women are bad if they constantly choose bad women to date. I mean, even in the comments section in my own videos, when I talk about like men giving up on dating and why you shouldn't use online dating, I'll have a lot of guys kind of saying that all women aren't worth dating. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, there's some phenomenal women out there. I've met some of them. I've dated some of them. Fortunately, it didn't turn out to anything long-term, and that sucks. But I know they're out there. I've experienced it. And oh my God, the experiences you can create with them are incredible, incredibly beautiful, so enriching, so fulfilling, so meaningful. And I'll see these men saying that they're giving up on dating, that no woman is worth the time and energy. And I'm like, what are you, dude, you haven't seen great women if you think that, because if you had met great women, you wouldn't say such a stupid thing. So I do understand that a lot of this is just people not having the perspective. It's really unfortunate. I imagine on the opposite side of the equation, you have a lot of women who've given up on men because they too have not met great men yet. It's really unfortunate. It does speak to an issue in society right now, how there aren't a lot of great people being made anymore. It's unfortunate. The whole education system really needs to be revamped, and parents need to do a better job. And I mean, there's no excuse like, oh, raising a child doesn't come with a book. Well, no, but like we have the internet now. You can look up everything you need to know about how to raise a kid in a healthy and good way. You can look up how to emotionally, or how to teach your children to regulate their emotions well. But of course, you need to know how to do it first. And I think that's the problem. Many people just want to take the easy route. They don't want to work on themselves. It's easier to hate all men and all women than to say, hey, maybe I'm creating some of this problem myself. Maybe I'm part of the issue. Now, of course, you're not going to be the entire issue, of course, because you can't control other people, but still, you're choosing them. That part you have control over, right? You can't affect how they treat you once you've chosen them, but you can definitely have control over whether or not you even choose them in the first place. So we have a lot of personal responsibility in our dating lives. And I try to speak to that as much as possible in my videos because I just want you guys to have better experiences out there. Like, it's so much better to be picky and stay single for a while than to just get with random people because you're afraid of being alone. Like, work on yourself enough to not be afraid of being alone anymore. Find ways to enjoy your own company. You'll find that maybe you can actually become your own best friend. And that's a powerful place to be, because then you'll be able to be very choosy when it comes to not only who you date, but even the friends and other people you keep in your life, because they also will have a huge impact on you. So yeah, this video is kind of going in a bunch of different directions, but I hope it's been helpful at the very least. I started it off really just wanting to talk about why it seems like men and women hate each other so much online, and I got into like all sorts of different realms here. But I really hope that it's been useful, if not just eye-opening, for the psychology behind why people end up hating the opposite sex. I hope this isn't as widespread as the internet makes it seem, but I have seen a lot of people online, unfortunately, who do take this stance of thinking all men or all women are bad. And it's like, well, as soon as you say that, I know you're the problem and not all men or all women. So hopefully people will take more personal responsibility for their lives and stop blaming the outside world, because the outside world can only do so much. Like, there's a lot of choices that we make on our own that impact the kind of life that we live. So you can only blame the world so much before at some point you have to blame yourself. But yeah, I mean, if you fall into that crowd, I hope that this video has at least inspired you to take responsibility and accountability for making your life better, because playing the victim is not going to do you any good. It's the easy route to take, yeah, but you'll only end up somewhere further down the road where you're not going to be happy, you're not going to like the life you've created for yourself, and you're probably not going to like yourself, because deep down you'll know that you led yourself in that direction. So take accountability now, start working on yourself now, and you'll completely avoid that bleak future. But I really hope that this video has been helpful. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Arrivederci!